On July 25th, 2023, some very damning information regarding Andrew Tate got leaked, and considering he's still under investigation because of the allegations regarding trafficking, I'm sure you know where this is going. On the 25th of July 2023, there were leaks regarding some messages sent between Andrew Tate and some of the girls he was operating with, alongside group chat messages from his real-world community. Now, because I started making this video on the 18th of this month, there will be a whole lot of content to get through before we get to the messages. So if you want to see them and them alone, skip to this timestamp. But if you want a full deep dive into Andrew Tate and the stuff surrounding him over the past couple of years, stick around, there's a lot to go through. This video took a lot of scripting and research to do, unlike my usual unscripted videos, and I'm probably going to get demonetized for this one, so your likes and subs would be greatly appreciated. Also, give this a share, not many people know about this. Now, straight to the point. When it comes to the topic of discussing men's issues and the issues between men and women in society nowadays, Andrew Tate was far from the first to actually discuss these issues. Oh, shocking, right? You see, most of the Manosphere red pill creators like Fresh and Fit, Sneeko to a lesser extent, even ABBA and Preach, although they at least give credit where some of their material comes from, and they disassociate with the toxic elements of the red pill, so I'll give them that. I'll also extend this to Kevin Samuels, as he also gives credit. May he rest in peace. Also, some of the men going their own way creators. YouTube won't let me say the acronym. Just Pearly Things as a female example, and of course, Andrew Tate either took inspiration or took ideas from Dante Nero, the radio host Tom Leykis and his Leykis 101 show, and especially the late comedian Patrice, most notably with his show called The Black Phillip Show that he created with assistance from the OP and Anthony show that he hosted with Dante Nero. Don't believe me? Take a look at this.
And I also have been watching the geography of what we would consider the manosphere, right? You know, all of these guys, the Tates, the Jordan Petersons, the Fresh and Fits, the ABBA and Preach, all these dudes are in this manosphere. Alpha Male, Kevin Samuels. Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, it bothers me that people are capitalizing on something that Patrice and I did in 2006. And this whole manosphere thing comes out of the whole Black Phillip show.
Now, I have a lot of respect for Patrice, as do most of the older guys who grew up on this type of stuff. But I don't agree with some of the things that he said, especially regarding his use of the term pimp, like with Andrew Tate. But O'Neill used the term pimp in regards to mindset, attitude, terminology, but not actually doing the behavioral things that a pimp would do. Patrice O'Neill didn't use women sexually to make money, manipulate them into doing so, then preached it on his course, but then denies it, to both cover himself legally now that the authorities in Romania are coming after him, and to appear as the most inspirational man in the world, as a way to grift to the anti-woke crowd to garner support and immunity from the establishment that is targeting him. There is a reason he went on that interview with Tucker Carlson, and by covering for him, Tucker Carlson's destroyed what little credibility he had left, and in my opinion, he's no better than Don Lemon and the rest of the media establishment. Patrice O'Neill at least had integrity, Andrew Tate does not. Patrice O'Neill, and I'll include Dante Nero in this, inspired high quality, not just in regards to wealth, but in regards to morals, character. Tate does not. Yes, I agree with a lot of the stuff discussed by his demographic, but not all of it is good. If a real man, as the Manosphere creators say, lies about things that he does or has done, he is not the man that you think he is. He is not a real man. He is a disingenuous weasel. And I'll show you evidence as to why later in the video. I know this is hard to hear for a lot of young men who look up to Andrew Tate, as there is no one else on Andrew Tate's level preaching about how to be a high-quality man that has accumulated his amount of wealth and notoriety. But in my opinion, it's clear Andrew Tate used to listen to individuals like Patrice O'Neill, his friend Dante Nero, and a few other creators and personalities to build up his philosophy, which he teaches on his course, that he both grows influence with and gets money from. And what a lot of people aren't aware of or ignore are the things that he did to garner the funds to portray this image as this inspirational man with such wealth and experience. And these are things he is now trying to back away from because a lot of the things he did to make his millions to begin with might have been illegal, but definitely was unethical. And if you don't believe me and you think I'm just a bot sent by the Matrix to try and take out the top G who just wants to save people from being enslaved by the Matrix and the global elite that wants to enslave us men, then hear it from the man himself.
Cannot get a girl to work for you. So the recruitment process is the same as the PhD course. You message them on Instagram. The PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl.
So he's describing the lover boy method, right?
If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. Girl. After the girl, you do the PhD test. If she passes the PhD test and she wants to be with you, then you start mentioning things like, Yeah, but you're always busy. You're always at work. You can come work for me.
All under the guise of, I'm here to help because I love you. Deceit is not a masculine thing to do. It is actually quite cowardly.
You cannot try and approach girls to do webcam. Hi, do you want to do webcam? It's bullshit. It doesn't work. No one's going to say yes. And any girl who does say yes is doing it. She doesn't like you. She doesn't know you. She doesn't love you. She's saying yes purely for money.
Just in case you needed any more proof that he's manipulating these women to do it. Well, there you go.
Any girl who wants money that bad is going to skank you and leave you when she realizes you get a big cut of it. So even if you do get a girl to say yes that way, even if you do say to a girl, look, let's make some money, she's only in it for the money. She's not in it to please you.
Did you see the language he used there? He is trying to trick female nature into becoming lucrative for him. Otherwise, no girl with an IQ higher than 50 would fall for this.
If she's only in it for the money, she's going to get pissed off with her cut. Because they're going to Google up how much a token's worth, how many tokens they made, and all that. They're going to get pissed off with their cut. Remember the tax thing, so you only have to pay them 30% instead of 50%. It's important for your profitability.
So fraud, right? Uh-oh.
So you don't want a girl who's in it for money. You want a girl who's in it to be with you. So you meet a girl, you take her on dates, you or whatever, she passes the PhD test, then you start saying things like, oh yeah, but you're always working, I have to do some traveling and you can't come, I want to bring you with me. Traveling is a great one because the thing about this business is mobile. If you can find a good Airbnb with good internet, you can run it somewhere else. So it's a good little caveat to throw in. Oh, and you're always working, why don't you work for me so we spend more time together? Work for you doing what? So I'll have a webcam business. Oh, I don't want to do that. So okay, I know you don't want to do that, but listen, come and let's have a meeting. Let's just talk about it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Fine. But let me explain it to you properly.
This is the part that a lot of people will say is illegal. This bit, whilst it is coercion and manipulation, and quite frankly immoral, is not actually an illegal bit. The illegal bit was what I said before with the fraud. That is illegal. Not telling people what they are entitled to with their wages for their work. And on top of that, how much tax is going to be paid.
In fact, I'll bring one of the girls who works for me. You, your bottom bitch, the new girl, you go out, nice dinner. Your bottom bitch is the one who does the selling. You don't do the selling. The girl has to hear from the girl. And this is where your bottom bitch has to be trained. That's why I said it's so important to have a good first girl.
I actually completely agree with this particular thing, not the rest of it. Having a good main girl is imperative when it comes to success for a high quality man. The issue lies when you use low quality women to achieve this, and a low quality woman is completely fine with manipulation, coercion, extortion, and exploitation. When soldiers lack discipline, the fault lies with their commander. And as a man, you are the commander of that relationship. The lieutenant commander or lieutenant commander is second in command. And if the commander of the force is going to use low quality tactics to achieve their success, the only woman they will be able to bring into the fray are low quality women. Low quality breeds low quality. And all Tate is proving is that he himself as a person is low quality, regardless of how much wealth he has.
My first girl was so good, it was easy.
Low quality girls are easy. Ask any pickup artist or player or guy who's played the field and they'll tell you. Hell, I'll tell you, and I haven't played the field since I was a teenager. It's not that difficult, and it gets boring, trust me.
My girls sit there go, oh my god, before this I was a waitress and it was shit, and now I do this and I make so much money, and the guys all love me and they adore me, and on my birthday they send me presents, and I get so much money, blah blah blah, and it's so much fun, and we stay at home, and da da da, and we're gonna go to Thailand soon, we're gonna be working in Thailand, and we're gonna stay there for as long as we want, you should come with us, it's gonna be so much fun, da da da, martinis, 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 bang!
You know, if he wasn't actually doing this to extort people so he can make millions, I'd actually completely agree with him. Yes, that actually works perfectly. Having another girl who's into you, who's in your corner, well, you would be if you're trying to have a threes with two girls. If it's with two guys, it's a train. That's a different kind of worms. It's imperative because it reassures the girl who you're trying to bring in that you are a high quality man. But that requires you to be a high quality man to begin with to bring the first girl in. And if you're doing it through manipulation, you're probably not a high quality man. And then, well, go back to what I said before. Low quality breeds low quality.
Slam them both. Your bottom bitch knows. This girl's like, okay, well, I'll try it. Put both girls on camera together the first day, so the new girl can sit there and just sit with the other girl and get drunk. Give them a bottle of vodka. Put on chatterbait. 100 tokens per shot. The guys will send loads of money to get the girls drunk, because guys like drunk girls.
Yeah, degenerate guys. I mean, if that's who you want to draw in, then sure. Also, that's coercion. Ooh, naughty, naughty. Also, isn't this against the rules in chatterbait? Like looking at their terms and services, right here. Performing while intoxicated, whether from alcohol or drugs, is strictly prohibited. So whilst it's not illegal, you're breaking the rules of chatterbait. Ooh.
Girls will sit there, get drunk, have a great time. You say it's your new job now, you don't go to work ever again. That's how you recruit girls. Do not recruit girls any other way.
Look, I'm gonna give it to you guys straight. Find better role models. It's simple as. I listed one, Patrice and Nero. Thank me later. Like and subscribe. The conversations on the Black Phillip show might save your life. And I'm not even saying Patrice and Nero was a paragon of truth or was a perfect example of how to live your life. I mean, he was an angry, obese mess. I mean, may he rest in peace, but he died because he was too lazy to get back in shape. He had type 2 diabetes. It was pretty sad. but he had great insight, and the conversations he created started the red pill and highlighted that there are gender issues in society. Hell, I even know some second-wave feminists that preach some of the stuff discussed on the Black Phillip show. And the reason why is despite the fact that he was a mess before he died, he preached integrity. Andrew Tate does not. In regards to Patrice, I consider him to be the great-grandfather of the Manosphere, not necessarily the grandfather, as that goes to the author of The Rational Male, Rollo Tomasi, who is, in my opinion, another grifter, not actually practicing what he preaches. If you saw his emotional reaction to Abba and Preach, you know where I'm coming from. Now I, more than most, completely empathize with young men in their struggle to live a happy, successful life in a world that actively attacks and punches down men. Trust me, I'm in my late 20s, I just got out of this myself. I'm only just a man now. But the people you look to for advice must hold themselves to a higher standard for them to be worthy of following. Because, as I said before, when soldiers lack discipline, the fault lies with their commander. And that's a Tywin Lannister quote from Game of Thrones. Write it down somewhere. Don't do what the same woke people you disagree with do, which is to omit facts to adhere to an agenda you wish to align with. Don't ignore the flaws of the people you follow just because you believe there is no one else to listen to. The current Red Pill teaches you to paint an illusion of masculinity to attract girls and be respected by men. The precursors of the Manosphere, however, teaches you to have accountability, to hold yourself to a high moral standard, to be honest and integrous, to be a good man first and successful second. This is the true Red Pill. Learning what a healthy masculinity and healthy femininity is. You will not get that from people like Andrew Tate, who lies, who cheats, who steals, who manipulates, who exploits, who extorts. Do you understand me? Find better role models, or do what I did and listen to multiple sources of information so you can pick the sense out of the nonsense and come to your own conclusion and build your own philosophy so that you actually can speak from your own perspective and not some book or some influencer alone. So find better role models to become the man you genuinely want to be. But if you want to become a disingenuous man, follow Andrew Tate and you'll end up going down the same path he's going, and it ain't a good one. And my young bros, hear me now. It is much harder for you to do what Andrew Tate did 15 years ago in 2023. Not only is there more competition now, but the answers are much more accessible, therefore making it harder to actually achieve this. So most young people know how to become successful, but it's harder to actually achieve it. Why on earth do you think so many people in Gen Z are so depressed right now? You all know so much, but don't actually have the ability to do any of it. Housing prices are sky high in comparison to when Andrew Tate was young, and don't even let me get started on the price of food nowadays, or gas, or electric, or bills in general. The old tricks don't work. But if you're a good man, and those good opportunities come along, a good man will be able to take advantage of it in the best way possible. Not from lying and cheating and exploiting, through actual genuine effort. And people recognize that effort. And maybe people want to hire people like that in their company. Or they want to give opportunities to someone who's like that. Or maybe the opportunity will come to you and you can do it yourself. And that's a fact. I mean, even people like Jordan Peterson are commenting on this guy. And whilst I have my reservations about Jordan Peterson, at least he has some level of integrity to him as well. So yeah, don't accuse me of being a Jordan Peterson fanboy, trust me, I'm the furthest from it. I'm quite aware of his drug issues and the fact that his daughter was affected by it. When his wife got ill, you'll later see how relevant that is. And just like Patrice, he wasn't exactly a high quality man in a certain sense, though his morals are something to be respected, as well as his insight in regards to psychology and masculinity. Take a look at this.
Opinions on Andrew Tate and the masculine movement happening in young men across the globe.
I really haven't said anything about Andrew Tate, and I probably won't tonight.
Yeah, I wonder why you haven't said much about Andrew Tate.
I'll make a few comments about the Andrew Tate phenomenon, I would say, is that the mystery is, there is a mystery in relationship to Andrew Tate, and the mystery is, why is he so popular?
Yeah, this isn't really a mystery. He's very good at branding. He's very good at marketing himself. Rich guy, can get girls and drive Bugattis. Yeah, that's pretty marketable to young, impressionable teenage boys. The young boys go online. Who do they see all the girls with? Older men who have money, who have power, who have fame. A nice yacht, a Bugatti, Rolls Royce, or Pagani, whatever it may be, private jet, right? They don't have that, they're broke. You think an 18-year-old's going to have a jacuzzi or their own house? No, they're probably living with their parents. And unless they're rich themselves because of their parents, they're not really going to have access to that stuff for many, many years. I didn't get my own place until I went to uni at 19. And then after that, didn't have my own place until I was 25. I live in the UK, you know how expensive houses are here? And then add that Hello Cupid thing that came out a while back. Boy, they censored that story real quick. I can't even find a damn thing to show you. People are now seeing that girls are in a minority on dating apps and they're going for older men. Meanwhile, only the upper echelons of all the men are likely to get any of the girls. That's how it works, and they all get run through by the same top 5%. So yes, no wonder why Andrew Tate is where he is.
And I think part of the reason he's so popular is because he doesn't easily bend a knee, so to speak, you know, and it isn't obvious to me that he doesn't bend a knee because of his stellar moral character.
Very true. Andrew Tate is not very moral. It's why young impressionable men flock to him, because they haven't built up their own moral compass yet, because they're late teens, early 20s, if that. Most men aren't getting their morals from their fathers anymore, let's be honest.
Because I'm not particularly, what would you say, impressed by what he's done on the sex business front. It seems to me a bit on the pimpy side, let's say. And I'm not a great admirer of pimps.
Well, I can agree with him on that one, that's for sure.
So, even if they're the electronic version. And so, you know, but I don't know that much about the details of his life. And apart from that, you know, rather casual diagnosis, I'm going to leave it alone. But there is a mystery there, and the mystery is, you know, why has he captured the public imagination? And it's clear that he's become a voice, maybe, you know, maybe like a kind of a violent rapper, same sort of attraction to young men.
Yeah, this makes perfect sense. Like, Andrew Tate's like that virtual big brother or big cousin figure that most kids don't really have nowadays because they're all locked in houses. Whereas Jordan Peterson here is like a virtual father figure or uncle even. Young men, and I'll extend this to young women because they need it too, need to grow up with healthy male role models. Otherwise, they will seek it elsewhere. Some might be lucky enough to go to people like Jordan Peterson, who isn't that inflammatory, and is a bit more moral, and has a bit more high class. Or they'll find someone like Andrew Tate. Tate is like that older brother or cousin who might put them on the wrong path, might get them into gangs or violence, stuff like that. And when I grew up as a kid, in the late 90s to 2000s, I would go to youth clubs, and I'd find people who are older than me who could be trusted because of the institution that set it up. There was much less risk back then, oddly enough. That stuff doesn't happen nowadays for youths. Most of them stay at home, scrolling through TikTok. And who do they find on TikTok? Re-uploads of Andrew Tate's content, because he had people in his old Hustlers Academy that would re-upload it for him.
That attraction is the attraction of what's the alternative to a kind of cringing defeat. You know, and so maybe a forthright aggression is a preferable alternative to a cringing defeat. And I have some sympathy for that viewpoint, you know. So, and I think Tate at least stands for that. And apart from that, I don't know enough about him or what he's done or what he stands for to comment. And so we'll leave it at that.
Well, that's a respectable stance to have, until recently, where he put up this tweet saying, "Pimps, electronic and otherwise, are the lowest form of life." Well, I guess he did his research now. And as more people start to do their research on Andrew Tate, they're going to come to the same conclusion that I came to. That he's not actually that high-quality man that he portrays himself to be. And he did do some very bad things to achieve his success.
What are you charged with?
That's a really good question. I'm charged with being the head of an organized criminal group, which is in charge of recruiting girls to make TikTok videos.
Hold up. It wasn't TikTok videos, it was chatbait. Like, the disingenuousness, he's lying right here. And Tucker Carlson doesn't call that out. I thought it was the voice of reason for the right and the centrists. Come on now. The fact that Tucker Carlson doesn't call Tate out on his BS is just, credibility gone. Like, I implore you all to watch the interview between Tucker Carlson and Andrew Tate. It will open your eyes to a whole lot of crap.
They face charges which include human trafficking and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women.
OnlyFans is the best hustle in the world.
Are they accusing you of using violence or?
No. They're accusing me of using the lover boy method, coercing them by being nice.
This MilkBarTV video is key for people to understand how nefarious Andrew Tate can be and has been. I'll leave the YouTube version of it in the description so you can watch it yourself after this video. But for now, I will go to the key points.
First night that I worked for him, Andrew bought me like 5 bottles of wine. So I got completely drunk because I'd never done webcam work. So I was very, very nervous.
Be wary, as Vice News isn't exactly one of the paragons of media. They are very, very nefarious when it comes to fake news. If any of you have heard Tim Pool's story, you know, that another smart, disingenuous guy, he'll tell you they are quite woke and not the good type. So take this with a grain of salt.
And over time, I just built up this big little empire of webcam girls. At one point, I had 4 locations, 75 girls working for me. I'd take around half of the money, around 50%.
You take 50%.
Around 50%.
They thought they were on 50%. And I said that the disparity was because of taxes.
He would just pay me a flat fee of £15 an hour.
Liar! Hey, everybody! This guy's a great big phony!
The point we had these guys falling in love with my models, serious, big time in love, right? Sending crazy money, and they were convinced they were gonna meet the chick. This is almost where I kind of felt bad.
Almost kind of felt bad. This is the savior of young men, the most inspirational man in the world. Yet he is actively responsible for damaging the lives of so many men. Yes, that's on them for spending that amount of money on, what, cam girls? It's very pitiful, I agree. But to take advice from Andrew Tate, knowing that he's one of the reasons why masculinity is dying now, despite the fact that he preaches it all the time, is completely asinine. Sure, pick the sense out of the nonsense when it comes to his teachings or whatever. Sure, I agree. But to just follow him blindly? Oi. Oi you. Young man. Wake up. Wake up, you're in your own little matrix. Andrew Tate's matrix.
I had these guys selling their houses, life savings, loans, all of it to me. Give me it all.
I was all about trying to get paid.
He does not care about other men. He cares about himself. The man, the myth, the lunatic. That's why he says he's the most influential man on the planet. He cares about himself and his ego. And you are all affirming his ego out there. All of you people who big up Top G, who pay for his ridiculous Hustlers Academy, or the real world as it's known now, and his war room. You are affirming that. You are enabling him, like Tucker Carlson did, and are proving that his way works. But it's only gonna work for him, it ain't gonna work for you. You'll continue to give away all your savings to him, or to his cam girls if you're that low, and you won't grow into the man you want to be. And you'll continue to affirm that the way to succeed in life is to be an evil piece of shit.
I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house and make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense.
Remember, his words, not mine.
Were there any other instances where there was physical abuse?
I saw him smack girls with a belt.
Want my ideas? You want my ideas? That's right, lock the door. You knew I was going to beat you. If you behaved, I wouldn't have to hit you, would I? You don't. Get out. You can't stay in there forever.
Once again, this is an IQ test, right? Because any guy who's bad with women would look at it and go, takes a woman beater.
If you are triggered by physical abuse, whether it's due to trauma or you're just squeamish, I suggest you cover your ears right now and your eyes. You've been warned.
Look at the camera. This is what happens, you don't listen. Look at the camera. Why are you getting hit? Why are you getting beaten? Listen. Do as I say.
Any man who's actually a G, who's been around a little bit, would look at the video and go, man, she wants that.
Now, I'm aware of what happened with him during the whole Big Brother situation, so I know about the videos that came out around then and that were used in the news reports then. I believe that this was BDSM.
Tell me you love me. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you die. Message one other guy ever. What? We're together or not. Oh!
Just saying, the Top G sounds rather insecure in this clip.
You understand me? Say it then. Say I understand. Say it like you. Say it again. Say I understand.
Tate and this girl, who I'm assuming is one of his many girlfriends at the time, liked recording their BDSM sessions, and she's laughing. So chill, nerds, alright? But when it comes to this one, I have some comments.
Once again, this is an IQ test, right? Because any guy who's bad with women would look at it and go, takes a woman beater.
So, Andrew Tate, whether you watch this video or not, I do not care. This is directed towards you. From man to man, you are not the arbiter of what a man is. You are not the arbiter of what masculinity is. You are the antithesis of being a man, or being masculine. Any man who must say, I am a G, is no true G. And having an audience filled of little boys who will call you Top G because they do not know any better, will not inherently make you one, as a lion does not concern themselves with the opinions of a sheep. And you are a sad, toxic man, surrounded by riches you didn't actually earn yourself, and hordes of sheep. Now, back to the men, the women, and the children too. What Tate is trying to do with an appeal to authority is he's trying to gaslight his large audience of like-minded men, affirming women, and impressionable young boys into thinking that if you do not align or agree with what he is doing and saying, you are not a man or a G. It is a loaded statement that will attack the egos of men who would logically disagree with this. Yet he has proven, or I have proven, many times in this video, that he is not a man or a G. If you have to subjugate your girl to the point where you had to rev her in the head and threaten to hit her with a belt, you are a real man does not need to use his physicality until someone is using their physicality against you. A real man will use his words, and his stature alone should impose enough respect. Sure, I agree. Be more than capable of using physicality when necessary. But when the person you're being physical against is literally in the fetal position, crumbling before you, regardless of if they are male or female, you do not carry on attacking them. Otherwise, you are an abusive monster. The argument about this being BDSM is dumb as hell. Anyone who understands BDSM, and I'm not going to try and control your masculinity in this, anyone who's done that before knows this isn't it. This is extreme. She blatantly isn't into it. And when you add the information that the girls might have been drunk when this happened, it all starts to make sense. You can't compare this clip to the Big Brother clip. That's blatantly consensual. Whereas the line is so blurred in this clip, you can't even tell what's going on. But going based on his attitude, he's disciplining his hoes. That's what pimps do. His words, not mine. Stop enabling this.
The media machine, they'd call up ex-girlfriends and say, if you have anything bad to say about Andrew, we can pay you $50,000 for the story. And they tried very hard. They didn't find any evidence of anything.
It feels disingenuous that your whole pimp attitude thing is now gone out the window now that you're trying to defend yourself from these accusations. If your hard-ass pimp attitude was truly genuine, wouldn't that shit be consistent across the board?
And I had gone to the shower, I came back and I noticed he was, I saw him.
Grape juice. Whilst there is evidence that Andrew Tate is physically imposing himself over the woman in his life, there is no evidence to suggest that he is a grape farmer. God damn it, YouTube, why do I have to keep censoring myself? Now I'm going to attack the other extreme, as I'm not a fan of false dichotomies. People who are accusing Andrew Tate of being a grape farmer without there being any proof or evidence to say such, in other words, the guilty until proven innocent thing, you are the scum of the earth, and you take away from every other woman or man who have been grapefruited or have been intimately assaulted in their lives. Yeah, I'm looking at you, just pearly things. People who falsely accuse or enable people that do it are the level below the people who actually do the act. So wait until there is evidence. Innocent until proven guilty. That does not apply to the clip 2 clips ago. Andrew Tate did it and someone recorded him. That is a fact. That video, unless it's edited, and let's be honest, it's probably not because he's responding to it, it's real. And the only thing that can save him here is if extra context comes up. But do not take that and then apply it to intimate assault or grapefruit. Otherwise, as I said before, you are the scum of the earth and take away from the actual victims out there.
People say, why do you in Romania? And I explain my 5 reasons. One of them is...
To me, but backwards. Really, YouTube? I can't believe I actually had to censor that. Really?
Oh, well, you're a But I like the idea of being able to just say to do what I want. I like being free.
And of course, they don't go out. They're not allowed out. You stay in the house.
Rules for thee and not for me. That is the rhetoric of Andrew Tate. He wants to be free at other people's expense. And you think because you're not a woman that you, subscriber to the real world, are not an expense. Right. As someone very familiar with libertarianism, someone who doesn't want freedom for other people does not fight for freedom. He doesn't want freedom for you, young man doing a 9 to 5 trying to grind his way out to success. He's not trying to do it for you. He's doing it for him. And him alone. And what he just did is use the backlash of to me but backwards, championed by the anti-woke like the political right, the moderates, the non-woke liberals, libertarians, the second-wave feminists, the manosphere, men going their own way, red pill woman, basically the anti-woke crowd. He uses this demographic as a shield that will guard him from being perceived as the big bad. And this is especially after the situation with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp where he proved his innocence. He is grifting to that demographic as a shield. Now there's already evidence for the physical attacks, so I won't rule out the possibility that he might be a grape farmer. But like I said, innocent until proven guilty.
But and the reason I use the term is because I don't see it as a negative term. I see it as positively inspirational and motivating person.
Do not let him subvert you. He acts like a pimp. He's owned that in the past, and now he's trying to rebrand to cover his tracks. Remember this. He is trying to change his own history to cover his tracks.
Has to respect you and love you and want to work with you. And that's done through positive pimp, positively inspirational and motivating person.
See, he still uses the terminology, but he's rebranding the context. Does that make sense?
I'm gonna send you a book. It's a guy called Pimpin' Ken, who was a street pimp in the 90s, and he wrote a book, 50 Laws of the Game. And one of the laws of the game is a hoe without instruction is headed for destruction.
And who's going to put her on the right path? You. I'm just saying, I don't think we should be taking advice from actual pimps, especially once you lie about their history.
Or accuse me of using the lover boy method, coercing them by being nice.
Let me read you then what you have said about what you have done.
Sure.
You have said, My job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, get her to fall in love with me to the point where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam so we could become rich together.
I don't think that's what I personally said. I think
that's exactly what you said on your website.
No, I've never said that. So yeah, on corporatate.com I have my PhD program.
Further evidence that Andrew Tate is trying to cover his tracks because he is aware of his past being immoral, and he can now claim plausible deniability. The evidence was literally on his PhD website, and then he denied it because he wants to rebrand. And I applaud that. He wants to be a better man, or at least perceived as one. But if he genuinely wants to be a better man, he needs to own up to the faults of his past. And the evidence is there, he's done some shady stuff, so can't he be a real man and own up to it? Well, he won't, because then he can't call himself the most influential man, who is saving masculinity even though he is actively contributing to its fall, and has lied and cheated and manipulated his way to the top. It's not exactly a happy success story now, is it? Not a good story you can tell to the kids.
I think the belief is that you were charged with human trafficking.
Yeah, that's human trafficking because what you do is you force a girl to work against her will for financial gain. That's human trafficking. And their justification for this is that girls do TikTok. Some girls I know who they found who say they're not victims have TikTok accounts.
Oh, God, he's still pulling the TikTok narrative. Like, it's annoying because I kind of want to like him in some areas because some of the stuff he does say is solid. Some of the stuff he said on, what are those idiots called? Fresh and Fit, some of the stuff he says in his own podcast are spot on, but like the disingenuousness is just heartbreaking to hear. And so many young men are going to be damaged by this. Like the radical feminist narrative that kind of caused this culture war is finally starting to be defeated, and now we're going to have a generation of toxic men roaming about. It's heartbreaking. Like, I actually thought we could stop the pendulum from swinging back again, but no, it's just gonna happen again. The cycle's going to continue. It's gonna be men versus women for another couple of generations now. We almost won, and then Tate came along and scorched earth and ruined everything because of his ego.
PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm.
Clever.
You know, I'm done after that one. Right, now we're gonna go through those messages, and that should be the final nail in the coffin in this whole Andrew Tate saga. Well, for now at least. Now, I was able to obtain about 100 images from this leak, with half of them coming from the war room that Andrew Tate and his brother probably runs, and the other half coming from personal messages. Now, this seems to be a discussion group between Andrew Tate and some of his upper echelon followers. They talk about strategies, they talk about things that they're going through, what they're planning to do, etc. For example, right here, he's discussing how he should approach the situation with the girl he had sex with on the Fresh and Fit show. Now, I typed Andrew Tate and girl on Fresh and Fit, and this is the one that came up. So I assume this is the girl. And what his strategy seems to be is that he approaches these women, he sleeps with them, and then he prospects them. If you're a salesman, you know what I mean by prospecting. But he does this to see if they're going to be easy marks for him to lure into his network. If the girl has some level of integrity or backbone, he doesn't waste his time with them. However, if they seem impressionable, or they seem like they are falling in love with him, or they idolize him, or they're gold diggers, or whatever it may be, he dives in with them, using all the techniques he discussed earlier. I'm not going to read through all of them, but you can see through the messages that come up every couple of seconds. And I'll be honest with you, the ones that you've seen so far at this point are very, very mild in comparison to what comes later on. Now, other than jerking off Tate's ego, there's a mix of both people asking for help or assistance or advice and Tate bestowing them with it, and then Tate giving them just random words of wisdom on his tactics and what he's doing currently. In this one on the screen, you can see his strategy for how he deals with his harem. After having sex with them to make them fall in love with him, he eventually starts to withdraw and then tries to put them in a situation where they have to crave him, citing the distance in quotation marks because he travels a lot as the reason why he can't go to them. And then he pushes them onto the whole, well, maybe you should get into the business that I'm in so you can come and see me. Then some of the guys in the group chat just start bashing women or just being toxic, and Andrew Tate just kind of brushes along to the next thing to keep the conversations going, showing off the girls that he's currently prospecting or that he already has in his grasp. Then this Nathan R guy starts to bash the women, saying that their friendships are fake, and he's not exactly wrong about that, especially when you remember that most of these girls are actually in love with Andrew and want to be his main girl and are auditioning for that. Now, after stroking his and his brother's ego, and then being affirmed by his followers, Tate then starts to update his group about the things going on behind the scenes with one of his girls. Now, this is where the important stuff starts to happen. As you can see, there is an image shared by Tate. Now, I imagine this is referring to those two girls before that he was talking about with his group. Now, in an attempt to control the minds of one of the girls, he acknowledges that this woman does not have the support network that she had back home, probably due to his manipulation and her stupidity, and then creates the conditions for a fictitious event that will spark an argument in their relationship. Now, this fictitious event is about her working in a sex club when she was back in her hometown. This girl admitted that she has lost her support network because they didn't like her moving away to where Andrew lives. And Andrew plays on this, knowing that she can't go back home to her family or her friends, and knowing that this sex club thing is false because he created it himself. He then refuses to respond. This is a manipulation tactic that he uses to control the psyche of this girl, this Jasmina woman. Him threatening to end the relationship with her puts her in a terrible spot as she has nowhere else to go, and Tate is aware of this fact. After playing the waiting game to let the pressure sink into Jasmina, Tate then starts to respond, but this time setting the conditions that she will not be allowed to leave to go back home, something both Andrew Tate and Jasmina wants. But this time on Andrew Tate's terms, as he is now the one with the upper hand in the relationship, which now makes Andrew Tate her only support network. Do you see the manipulation tactic? Do you see how he played her right into his hands with just one lie that could easily be believed as a fact based on her background back home? But then he does something so intelligent yet so devious. He tells her that she's not allowed to leave the house in Bucharest without either him or Georgiana. And this is why I didn't bring up Georgiana earlier in the video. I was saving her for this. Georgiana is Andrew Tate's bottom bitch, the main girl in this situation. She is the Ghislaine Maxwell of this situation. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you. Georgiana is ex-police. She's the one who handles the girls and all the affairs there that Andrew Tate can't handle as the man in the situation, giving a fake aura of security in the minds of the young girls that are being taken advantage of. Because, you know, girl power, girls stick together, woo! At the top of this one, you can see that Andrew Tate is trying to use women's tactics against women. Very smart, I guess, because in this update to the group chat, he mentions that his prospect for Cam Girl just got more prospecty. And then he makes a game out of it because, you know, gotta have games in the chat, lads. Games night, oi oi. The Jasmina girl then sent this massive essay, and this plays right into Tate's hands, as this is what he intended to happen. This God-fearing young woman, who gave her entire life away for a guy, instead of, you know, God, dedicates herself to Andrew Tate with these 4 points. Point 1 being that she's never sent lewd images to anyone. Point 2 meaning that she'll never do video chats or OnlyFans because her body is intimate and only her husband will be able to see and touch. I mean, we know what Andrew Tate's doing. We'll see how long that lasts. Point 3, that she expects the love to be both ways. Well, we know that's not going to happen. And point 4, she doesn't want to be abused. Very moral, very respectful. I doubt anything's going to go her way, but she has no idea yet because she's been manipulated. Back in the war room, we then see Andrew Tate telling his people about how he's playing the game on legendary difficulty, all skulls on, and then we see probably one of the most nefarious comments in this entire war room. Mac J says, yeah, that isolation is critical, proving that this entire war room is a collection of lessons for Andrew Tate to teach his followers how to manipulate, play, use, gaslight, and traffic these young girls. And my god, this is a slippery slope. It then gets even more nefarious, this time with Tate leading the charge. Tate says, close, I'm going to add a layer of separation. We'll use Gio as the BB, bottom bitch, and pretend I don't care either way so she can't attack me for tricking her. Gio is that Georgiana girl I mentioned earlier, Andrew Tate's main girl, so she is aware of everything and knows what she's doing, as well as what Andrew Tate is doing. What's interesting here is that the girl apparently is aware, through her friends who she probably doesn't trust anymore, that Tate only wants her for Cam, and for some reason, still thinks this is a good idea. It makes no goddamn sense. Maybe the girl's dumb, maybe she's gullible, maybe she's just head over heels, or she's a gold digger. I don't know. Probably not the last one. But she's in this trap, she's been warned, and she goes in head first. And Andrew Tate uses that manufactured incident with the sex club to his advantage. Now, Andrew does a lesson time with his students in his war room, where he then tries to lay out what his strategy is going to be and has them answer. They will then give all their messages while also stroking his ego again. I've noticed that this is a recurring theme here. It's like I'm watching an old American film with the stereotype of the school bully and his followers. It's just quite difficult to get through. But after talking about how instinctively girls like to shit test men, and how he's aware of the fact that she's trying to appear to be the good girl to him, we see the second nefarious moment. Tate says, she's broke. She can't go home. She can't leave the house. Man, I almost sound evil, but I'm not. I'm a shepherd, leading the sheep. She doesn't realize that following me makes life better for her. Who the hell is this guy? Emperor Palpatine? Like, I'm not even sure what's worse in this entire thing. It's unfathomable that he would even say such a thing, so brazen. Or that his followers smile and clap at this and say, yay, top G, woo, Gillum, put those bitches in their place. Like, you guys are also technically sheep in this as well, you know? Like, oh, this is just horrendous. The image that Tate shared to the group chat is a screenshot taken from his conversation with Georgiana regarding Jasmina. You then learn that she has no money. She's waiting to get a card from Andrew Tate, and she craves cigarettes, so she's an addict. Interesting. I guess her nicotine addiction is something Andrew can control. And all this does is show how nefarious Andrew Tate really is as an individual. Now she's trapped, he can put an ultimatum straight in front of her, leaving her almost no choice but to comply. Comply into this tyranny. And boom, checkmate. Without even noticing that she's being manipulated into this situation, she says she's not leaving, which is exactly what Tate wants. And it seems Mac J also agrees that this is like chess. So well done, Andrew. I'm sure your father would be proud. Now, knowing that Jasmina does not want to actually contact her parents, he uses this as a way to try and sleaze money to her, which, under the guise of not actually wanting to give it to her, allows the bartering to go into play. He will give her money if she says that she trusts him. This will both allow for him to control her and for her to be dependent on him. When she doesn't do that, he goes all loverboy on her and says that he will take care of her. He blatantly lies to her here, as most of his money, well, it came from other girls now, didn't it? And she eats this up, and he brags about it. She then goes on about how she needs to buy a new phone and how she needs to get new makeup. While crying, Andrew Tate laughs about this to make the mood more lighthearted, and then we go back to the war room. Tate and his lackeys are now planning to find a way to manipulate her into doing cam. Now, I don't have the bubbly one here to translate Chinese for me, so I'm going to assume this is an Oriental sounding name. I'm just going to call it that for now. Oriental name lays out a tactic for Tate to manipulate the girl. Tate affirms that and then follows up with, cam is the only way that she can be loyal to me, using her good woman speech against her. After believing that the girl's trying to avoid the subject, Tate decides to play his next trick, using Georgiana to stem a new conversation. This will make it look like Georgiana is the one that wants the girl to do cam, not Andrew, giving Tate plausible deniability. Tate then plans to use the fact that he's wealthy as a tool to make her plead that she's not a gold digger, and this will allow her to then prove his loyalty to him, something he wants. When things don't go to plan, Georgiana will then create a scenario where it looks like that the girl's going to get kicked out. And then this meticulous plan can then allow Andrew Tate to then swoop in and save the day, making her more loyal and making her fall into his grasp. But under this false premise of security that will be provided by Andrew. And she'll be more likely to do cams that way, as it's her only option. And then we see Nefarious Moments Part 3. In an attempt to manipulate this girl further, Tate and Georgiana create a fake convo that will allow Tate the plausible deniability I mentioned earlier, whilst also appearing to love her and want the best for her. Georgiana is actually the one that wants to get her into the big bad cam business, and Tate only does this because he wants the best for her. Love is in the air. He then screenshots the fake convo and then shows that to Jasmina, saying, don't tell her I showed this. And then he shows this to the guys in the war room. And here we see Andrew make an offer to his followers to do this for every girl in future. Meaning that every girl barring Georgiana was likely manipulated with the same tactic. Jasmina, who is a hard mark for him, sets up a trap that he doesn't know how to answer, which is quite hilarious. But he uses this for another lesson time with the lads. He asks what they would do in this situation. After some time, Andrew reveals that the girl passed the test, meaning that the manipulation tactic worked. Later on, we then see text messages from Andrew Tate in the group chat. Tate uses this information to then affirm him, and I'm assuming the rest of his group chat's, toxicity towards women, citing this as typical female behavior. Jasmina, the girl from before who got manipulated, stole money from one of the other girls that Tate duped. Tate then explains his strategy and how he's going to handle this situation. By now, I'm sure you've realized that every single event that happens of this level is an opportunity for Tate to gain more power over the girls. Which leads us to Nefarious Moments Part 4. In an attempt to play into one of his girls' desperation kinks, and to stroke his ego, because of course, Andrew Tate shows these two images to the group chat. Now, Andrew doesn't show the name of this girl in the group chat, so we have to take this with a grain of salt, as this could just be fake and a way to make the guys big him up so they give him more money, probably. But this girl's basically fine with Andrew sleeping with other women and believes that he deserves this. Oriental Name then lays out the whole protocol for the PhD and the pickup artist protocol, to which Tate responds, lit, bruv. Tate then shows to the group chat that the Ibiza asset he has agreed to do OnlyFans. I'm sure you guys saw the ego stroking he got for that. And then he shares several more screenshots. The point of these messages are basically that the girls degrade themselves to such level after being withered down by Andrew Tate's manipulation that they essentially concede ownership of their minds and bodies to him. This is how he locks them down. He makes them suffer from the withdrawal symptoms of not having the top G there to give them the dick. And because they're so desperate for approval, validation, and a less conscious but significant extent, money, they give their entire essence to Andrew. I know this is partially their fault, but this is actually rather heartbreaking to see. And let's be honest, to any guy out there who's experienced this level of depravity from women, it's usually based upon consensual, honest truths, not lies and manipulation. Seeing these girls do all these things without even knowing that they are being trafficked is just It's just heartbreaking, to be quite honest. Tristian, and I assume this is Andrew Tate's brother, exposes himself as doing exactly the same thing that Andrew does. But his point on doing this is to basically explain that he must remain on good terms with the girls in his network, saying that only small-minded guys get mad at their hoes. Tate then explains that he needs to see the Ibiza asset, but doesn't want her posting on Instagram because that will upset the other girls. Wow, who would have thought? It's hard to condition girls when it's all based on lies, isn't it? But he tries to do it anyway, and he succeeds. Phones off, no random Insta stories, no selfies or looking like you're recording. And she doesn't suspect a thing because she's so deluded. But at the end of the day, Tate will do it because he gets what he needs, he gets the security he needs to keep this operation under wraps, and he doesn't create any controversy with some of the other girls in this network. And this allows him to go out there into the world and play the role of the normal, wholesome top G that he tries to portray himself to be, especially as of recently. And whilst giving the girls little crumbs of attention, he can go out and have his meetings that the girls don't actually know anything about, like meeting this Sebastian fellow, who's probably not actually called Sebastian, is probably something nefarious or illegal or a business deal or an interview, but most likely just him sleeping with one of the other girls. Something like that. But because of how meticulously Andrew Tate set this entire thing up, manufacturing fear from the outside forces that might be trying to harm him or her due to the work he probably implies he does, the girls end up locking themselves down, so Andrew Tate doesn't actually have to do any of it himself, covering all of his bases so that no one finds out that he's actually trafficking the girls, including the girls themselves. And that was the last of all the messages from the leak. Judas Priest. So since you've all made it this far, I'm going to give you all some context. I started recording this video about a week before uploading this video. Now recording this current line of dialogue, it is the day before I upload, and the same goes for when I read out the leaks. But the rest of the video was recorded a week ago. Now when I started recording this video, because I hadn't gotten sick and tired of people telling me that Andrew Tate isn't all that bad, I still gave him the benefit of the doubt that he wasn't a trafficker, and that the only thing he should be tried for is the fraud situation, which isn't that big of a sentence, let's be honest. But after reading those leaks, there is no goddamn doubt, not a goddamn doubt that this is true. He is trafficking these girls. Just because they're adults does not mean that they can get away with it. This is beyond illegal. And if this is actually being showed in the court, he cannot get away with this. Unless a Romanian mafia or something's gonna try and like bail him out or something, he's done. And so is his brother, and so is this Georgiana girl. When you think about it, Georgiana probably doesn't even know what they discuss in that war room. And the funny thing is that none of this would have happened if they just contained their ego, but their need to get validation from the people in their war room. That was their big mistake. Instead of internalizing and improving, they embraced this mental hedonism, wagging their mouths around to try and brag about how manly they are. And then they monetized it. You know, when these leaks get more attention, let's face it, unless the girls have their phones taken by Georgiana or Tate, how are they going to hide this? Like, firstly, the leaks, as we're calling it, they're not really leaks, let's be honest. This was most likely planned to be released, to actually expose to the world, including all the girls in his network, that Andrew Tate has planned this from the beginning. And his brother and Georgiana helped Tate. So all the girls in their network, this will get to them, somehow. And no one can stop this now. Once the girls find out about this, a lot more whistleblowers are going to come forward. But the funny thing is, because they're so indoctrinated and on the Kool-Aid, that won't really amount to much. But them corroborating the truth from the false, that's where the key is. That's where the prosecution wins. But let's move on from the leaks for now. I've spent enough time on that, and this video is long enough as it is. Now I've given you all some perspective on the Red Pill movement as a whole, and how Andrew Tate has kind of taken over that phenomena. There's a lot to like about Andrew Tate, a whole lot, but there's a whole lot of bad about him too. He's lied, he's manipulated, he's cheated his way to the top. He's actively taken advantage of the fact that in Romania you can get away with corruption a lot more than you can in the UK, for example. And I also understand that he's been persecuted right now by the mainstream establishment that's kind of taken over the West right now. I'm sure that's one of the reasons he moved to Romania. Didn't go according to plan, but, well, you can't blame a guy for trying, I guess. Because he's not completely being transparent about things and is only giving us a surface level understanding of things, we need to hold him accountable. He has proven to be abusive in some areas, whilst not breaking any laws by the whole fraud thing that I've pointed out, and I don't know why that's not something he's been taken to court for. And his own admissions in the war room, alongside his brother, and the screenshots from Georgiana, his behaviour is not something that young men should be looking up to. Yes, you could admire his success, you can respect it even. But to follow him blindly and assume that he's the best person to trust and listen to is just, it's a recipe for disaster. I think that's the best way I can describe it. It's not going to go well, and hear me now, I don't say this to disparage young men, but let's be honest, most young men would never even amount to the things he's achieved, and people are just going to be unhappy trying to be Andrew Tate. And people want to know about his philosophy. But has he even been completely honest about that? Because if he's not going to be honest and integrous, then what place does he have to actually influence the young men around the world on how to be that rich, successful masculine man? Just because he's rich does not mean he's an arbiter of truth, a paragon of success. He's not. He's jingling his keys in front of you and making you guys go, oh, I want the keys to the castle. Meanwhile, he stands atop of all the people he's exploited to achieve his success, and you all can't reach the keys. And I'm sure you're going to say, well, Hindsight, what's your solution to this mess? And honestly, other than look for better role models and think objectively, combine various different opinions and perspectives and formulate your own, keep in shape, learn how stocks and investments work, maybe invest in an ISO or something, or a Roth IRA if you're in America, maybe put some money into the S&P 500, I'm not a financial advisor by the way. I can't righteously say that there is one way to do things. Not Andrew Tate's way, not Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Richard Branson, Elon Musk, because everyone's starting from a different perspective, from a different position. Every individual, and as all 8 billion of us as of 2023, are different. We're not going to have the same starting package or starting in the video game of life. You all need to figure that out. And yes, take inspiration. I agree. Team up with people. Listen to people. Learn from people. But do not base your entire livelihood around following what someone else did, because it's not going to apply to you. Do you understand? And I'm sad to say that a lot of you have been told that you can do things Andrew Tate's way, and if you just give him some of your money, you can learn the skills. And as I'm sure a lot of you already know, that is simply not the case to just follow some person. You have to create your own way. As you've now learned, Andrew Tate's way is very, very, very illegal. Stop looking for someone to save you. Don't rely on people to inspire you either. Find out what you're good at and fulfill your own destiny. Things are not actually that bad nowadays, believe it or not. Despite how expensive everything is, despite how unattainable things look. We have access to more technology and information than any time in our history. We literally have AI that can tell us things and explain things to us and help us program sites and make money. Use that. The same way Top G used women to make money, you can use whatever ethical things you have access to make money. So get out there and make it work. Because it seems the facts tend to be more honest than individuals like Andrew Tate. And that's what this video was about. Identifying what is and isn't true about Andrew Tate. The truth will make you stronger. That is more rewarding than just listening to the Top G. We can look back at history and learn from the mistakes of the past. And on a closing note to anyone who's depressed out there, or sad, or is struggling with life, do not allow your nihilism to gaslight you into thinking that there is no hope. Because hindsight is a powerful thing.